this meeting of the Charter Revision Commission to order. I now call this meeting of the Charter Revision Commission to order. Okay, roll call.
Okay, a roll call will be Politis.
Here.
Timian.
Here.
Annison. Here. Gregerson.
Here.
Knudsen.
Here.
Okay, welcome to those in the audience. I was reminded that there is no longer a sign-in sheet. First order of business is approval of the minutes from February 17th.
So moved.
Second? A second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any additions, corrections?
Not a correction. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to be that loud. I just assume for the listening public and viewing public that those minutes are on our website. If they have any questions about what we're approving, would that be correct?
Yes, that's under siouxfalls.org. Okay. Okay, can I have all those in favor of approval?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, new business. Okay, first, in order, discussion of the mission of the Charter Revision Commission and determination of how to proceed. Possible working sessions to review the entire charter. Commissioner Timian.
In looking at this, it seemed that last year we were assembled and people were shooting possible changes at us, submitting possible changes, and we were responding to those. I think it would be beneficial for us to, for instance, in 3 working sessions, and as they look at the charter, if we were looking at, if we would look at 1, 2, and 3 at one session, 4, 5, and 6 at another, and 7, 8, 9 at a third working session, going over it to see if there are things that we think should be updated or changed. The reason that I organized it that way, powers of the city, city council, and mayor are 1, 2, and 3. 4, 5, and 6 is departments, offices and agencies, financial procedures, and elections. And then 7, 8, and 9 are general provisions, charter amendment, and transition separability provision. I think it makes sense to keep it into fairly small groups. It's probably going to give 5 or 6 pages as to what is there, how it relates to other things in the charter, and if we see a need for changing any of those. I think what it will do is will help give us a background when someone suggests that a change be made, that we're there and better able to respond.
Ms. Knudsen.
I'm very happy to attend as many work sessions as the group wants to have. I just wanted to report just from my end that since the April 10th election, when the public voted on the charter proposals, amendments, I have never, ever received a phone call or had an email or heard a comment from anyone. And so I guess that's what I'm saying to the public is that we are more than ready now to listen very carefully to any suggestions you have. And again, I think a lot of people are not familiar with the, unless they work for government, in government, city government, I don't think they're very familiar with what the city charter is, where they can find it. And again, it's on the website. But I'm just saying I'm happy to go to work sessions, but again, I've not heard from anyone since last spring.
And I guess it would be my intention that when we look at the luxury we have at time before we need to submit anything for approval, because I think that is going to be in January, February of
2012 or 14.
Of 14. So that we could go through, and if we were to use our October and November meeting dates as work sessions, and then even followed up with a January one, we're still a year out where we can have meetings asking for public input, but I think be better positioned for that.
Question?
Knudsen?
And so, Mr. Timian, so do you mean during work sessions would we entertain suggestions from the public at that time also, and so we could kind of talk through those during our work sessions, or did you mean for just us to study them a little bit more in depth ourselves? I was just unsure.
I don't think we can do that. Wouldn't we be subject to the open meeting law? Or what? Or is there exemption?
Yeah. I'm assuming these working sessions are still, like the council working sessions, they're certainly open to the public and they're noticed and all that.
Right.
I'm assuming
Yes.
that's what Mr.
Yes.
Timian means.
Yes,
They're
that,
open,
it would be
but
there.
they're not they're not filmed, correct?
Correct. And I think on that point, we could still take, if there's any input that is there. But I think it would put us in a better position that if in October, November, December, January of 13 and 14, that is where we had the bulk of the proposals presented last time. That would be better prepared for those through the working sessions.
And just going a step further, as far as when we have our work sessions or whatever, I'm very happy with having them filmed too. I mean, because I realize the city council doesn't, but they're very open sessions. But I myself don't have any trouble with anything being filmed. So.
Well, I don't either, but I think it would all depend on scheduling.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you are right. I mean, if you do it, say, in the ante room here and there's another meeting going on in here, you might have a little more flexibility. That is the one advantage to doing it, say, in the ante room versus in Carnegie Hall here.
Commissioner Gregerson?
I think it would be better if we, had not sit here in these study sessions, but sit around maybe a round table or something to that effect instead of.
I agree. I like that table.
I think it's a good idea. I think we ought to meet somewhere else, but besides the chamber.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to make a big deal of that at all, because I realize what they are saying is that they're very much for open government and it's just more comfortable, more relaxed setting in there. But the only disadvantage to me is, like for Charter Commission, the truth of the matter is we hear from very, very, very few people after, even after we meet for 6 months or whatever. And so I'm just, I'm just encouraging the public to get more involved in the whole process as far as charter revision. And I guess many people, most people are working outside the home during our meetings. So that's the advantage to me of recording them, is that other people can follow us more closely. But
And I think we will still have that opportunity after the work sessions. We'll go into our meetings and go through it. But last year, if I were to look at the number of proposals that initiated in this group, I don't recall any, that all the proposals that were submitted came from others. Mm-hmm. And I just think that to fulfill our mission, we'd be better off taking a review to see if there are changes that we think should be made and going that way. So I guess if I could, I would make a motion that we can work on the dates, but at our October and November meetings, that those be work sessions. We're still well over a year out from where we would be putting anything on a ballot. There'll be plenty of time for items to come up, but I think it will better position us to handle those requests. And on the third one, if we're going to skip December, if that could be our January meeting.
Okay. Is there a second?
And just for discussion, did I jump ahead?
Or do I have a second?
Okay.
I need a second.
Okay, sorry. I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Sorry.
Discussion?
Okay, yes, sorry about that. Is that, again, just to get the discussion started and maybe move it faster as far as next meetings, is the third Thursday. I like the idea of meeting at 3:30 because that's kind of what we've been doing, and so people are kind of used to that. And no particular day of the week is special to me. Again, we need to stay away from Tuesday, obviously, because of city council informational meetings. But so just for discussion purposes, I'm going to suggest the second Thursday. I know today is the third Thursday. That's always going to be a conflict for me each month for a couple more years. And I can't get out of that very easily. So I'm going to suggest for personal conflict reasons there for me on the third Thursday. I'm going to suggest the second Thursday at 3:30, and that would be October 11th and November 8th. And I would prefer to take off December. I'm happy to meet if we need to, but I'm happy to have really good full meetings on October 11th, November 8th, or something like that, unless other members have a better suggestion.
If I could, as I saw that we had an agenda item for future meeting dates as C, I was going to wait and get that addressed at that time.
Okay.
Okay, the motion is on the table. Is there any discussion on having working sessions looking at having 3 sessions and looking at the going through the entire charter?
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I was confused. I thought we were going to use the next 2 real meetings, next 2 monthly meetings for work sessions. I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
I think that's what the motion was, that the next 2 monthly meetings would be work sessions as well as the January.
Okay.
But then the next, in item C, we'll talk about the dates. Okay. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, those in favor of going with the working sessions and looking at the charter in its entirety? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, B, possible revision to the beginning date of the council and mayoral terms in sections 2.02 and 3.02. Right now it's set at the 3rd Monday of May.
Hi, Lori Hogstead, City Clerk for the city. Just a little background, I've been the city clerk since March. I actually started 3 weeks before the last election, so I got my feet wet really quick. However, I did spend 20 years in this office prior to that. In fact, during the time when we changed from, to the charter form of government. So much experience with that. And we had a change recently, and you may have noticed this, where our council meetings are now on Tuesday nights. We met on Monday nights for years and years and just decided that Tuesday nights would work better in a variety of ways. It would give us a better 24-hour notice if something happened over the weekend and just give you that Monday to get everything put together. And we're all really appreciating the Tuesday meetings. As a result, those are the changes that would need to be made in a couple of the sections of the charter. And of course, we can talk about these again at the working session, but 2.02 subsection C refers to election and terms, and it starts out the term of council members shall be for 4 years, beginning on the 3rd Monday of May, and we would like to change that to Tuesday. And then under section 3.02, election and qualification of mayor, this would be the last sentence of that paragraph. It starts out, the mayor's term shall begin on the 3rd Monday. Again, we would prefer that that be Tuesday to coincide with our regular council meeting dates. And just one other item to add, our next regular election will actually be held in April of 2014. So just to give you a time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you. So we will look forward to that and keep that in mind when we go through.
Yeah.
Ms.
Yeah, I was wondering, that is just so, that to me is just so obviously an obvious need as, I guess I like, could I make a proposal a motion at least right now that we, I can't imagine what we'd have to discuss about that for months and months. Why not? Could we just make a motion and put that on our...
That to me,
as a proposal, anyway?
I think we could, in our working session, we may be able to craft language that if the if the council decides to meet on Mondays in the future or on Wednesdays, that we could accommodate that with the language that we could craft so that in the future, if they change it to Wednesdays or back to Mondays, it doesn't need a charter commission change to do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would echo what Mr. Timian said also. I mean, I could certainly for the working session come up with some language, and I'll work with Clerk Hogstead on it too, but I remember months ago we were looking at that this had gone through some other revision process in the past, and I can share more of that history with you too during the work session. But what was interesting through these two sections is they were looking for about a 3 or 4 week time lag, and it was interesting that they used canvass or the election day as kind of the triggering date. So we may want to just think about those types of things a little more, and I certainly want Lori involved in that whole discussion, and I think it's just, something that would, as Mr. Timian said, last the test of time in case we do change it to Wednesdays for some reason or what have you. So
Sure, we can work on that together, see what we can come up with
Great.
for the working session.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other discussion on item B? Okay, now C, discussion of future meeting dates. Commissioner Knutson.
Yes, sorry that I'm going too fast today on everything. Is it, for discussion purposes, I would like to suggest the second Thursday of the month for October and November. I recommend taking December off just because it's such an incredibly busy month for everyone else, or everyone I should say. And I recommend staying with the 3:30 time period because that's what we've, I think, most of the time been using. And that's just, I'll say that's a motion just to get it started. I don't care. Just whatever you want to call it.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
How does that work with the schedule for this room?
I think we'll be fine.
Any comments on that? Does it interfere with anyone else?
Yeah, I guess I'd wonder if,
Work.
do any of you have a better day of the week? I mean,
That works for me. Would we be looking at like 1 hour session and 1 hour in here, or separate for the work? Working sessions? Any idea how long it would take for Commissioner?
Do we have to give a notice then for those working sessions too? I assume we do.
yes,
But
we
we
would
have
have
to
to
give a
give,
notice
we would give the public notice and send out an agenda, and we would obey all the open meeting laws and the notice.
Like we're
Absolutely.
doing for
Yes.
these meetings?
Yes, and that's what the council does as well with their working sessions. The only difference is the informality of the room versus the dais up here. You just have the conference table, and the public's allowed to attend in there, and it's just, it does lend itself to a better working environment in terms of informal discussion and working through things. But obviously, the public is welcome to attend, and it's fully noticed.
Madam Chairman, if we have the working session before the commission, before the meeting, then we know we have to quit by then. Maybe that's a good idea. On the other hand, if you say you would have it afterwards, you could start the council meeting earlier, or the commission meeting earlier, and then have it afterwards, so you aren't bound by that time schedule. I don't know how much time starting out we're going to need, but an hour isn't much when you're going through 3 sections of the
Right. Any,
Well, I guess to me on the idea of an hour, that as we look at that, if we need more time, we can consider how we want to go forward. If we want to go to an hour and a half or whatever, and then move forward. But I think as everyone comes to the meeting prepared, well versed in those 5 or 6 pages, the discussion should go fairly quick as to what are the items that are there that would be potential where changes might be needed.
and if needed, it could be held, part of it could be, we could go over that the next month.
And we could ask for some assistance on drafting and what some options might be. But one of the things we have is we've got the luxury now of having time that we did not have a year ago.
Madam Chair, my input in that, I think everybody plans an hour and a half to 2 hours, and if we get in sooner, we get in sooner. But we all plan an hour and a half, and if it only takes an hour, it's a bonus, right?
So are you in favor of having us meet here first and then go into working session, or do?
I think either or. It might be better to have the working session first and then come in here, but either way, I'd be happy with it.
Is there a need to come in here? I think we could get everything we needed to get done in the working session.
Right.
Okay, so schedule the working session for an hour before?
I would just schedule the working session for an hour and a half and leave it at that.
Right.
Okay, so schedule it for 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock. I was thinking 3:30. So we'd schedule it from 3:30 and say that, but our goal would be to be out of the working session by 5.
Okay, when would we do our meeting here?
In February?
Okay, so just do working sessions until,
Correct.
okay. Mr. Feifel?
By ordinance, you're only required to have one meeting per year. So with this framework that Mr. Timian's talking about, you have a lot of flexibility. And if I'm reading it right, he wants to have the 3 working sessions first before you go back to this environment in here. And
we will certainly be open to accept input from the public in the work session.
Yes.
But at this point, I think on this one is we're going to be coming out and asking for public input.
Sure. We can take input in there, and we can also still take it
Yes.
through the internet, or letters, however, communications to any of us.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, could I have that as a motion?
The motion's on the,
You already made it.
It's on, okay.
you'd said second Tuesday at 3:30, correct?
Okay, yeah, we had a
Second Thursday.
Second Thursday at 3:30.
Yes.
And did you include in that October, November, and then no December?
Well, that was just my suggestion. I'm open
Okay.
to better plans.
October, November, and January, I thought you were going to skip, right? October, November, and January.
Madam Chair, can I just ask for clarification? So Thursday, October 11th, working session in the multipurpose room at 3:30 to go over sections 1, 2, 3 of the charter. Thursday, November 8th, multipurpose room 3:30 to go over 4, 5, 6. December, you're skipping. January 10th, Thursday, January 10th, 3:30, multipurpose room 4, 7, 8, 9. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Let me ask a question, Mr. So we're having the working session after or before? When are we going to?
My understanding that
Just having the working session.
Just a working session.
Oh, not the, okay. Those are just the 3:30 on those 3 days.
Correct.
Okay,
Right.
all right.
Okay,
Okay.
any more discussion? Ms. Knutson?
Madam Chair, I mean, if when we have people here today, would we entertain any suggestions at this time while they're here? I mean,
Okay, are there any suggestions, comments from?
All right, my take charge personality really wants to come up here. What I would suggest is we could assist with the city attorney's office in printing out sections 1, 2, and 3, notify the public, and also notify the council members, because if I recall from the last sessions of the Charter Revision Commission that many of those came from the council, and then that way they would have time to review those ahead of time. We could also just send those sections out to you separately along with the title headings for each section as an index ahead of time to look at, so that when we do sit down to go through it, we'll have kind of a systematic approach to it.
I think it's a great idea. In fact, it is so great that we already have it printed out in front of us.
That is fabulous. See, I knew I had a good idea.
And a 3
Okay.
reminder to put it in and everything.
Yes, that's
But
great.
we'll definitely notify the council of the meeting date and let them know well in advance so that if they do have changes or changes they wanted to bring forward that they had brought up the last time, then they'll have the opportunity to present those.
And they'll
Yes.
know when we're doing each
Right, each
sections
section.
they're interested in.
Right.
Sure,
Okay.
great.
Madam Chair, I was wondering if we could ask our very capable city clerk if, at, the very next city council informational meeting, for instance, and then, once in a while, to just always help promote our Charter Revision Commission meetings, if she would be comfortable doing that. Not only for the city councilors, but for those who are in attendance. Just so that we could get a little bit more momentum and input from the world.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to do that.
That would be very helpful. Mr. Fifley?
Tamara wisely suggested we'll just do a press release and let the whole world know that that's
we go.
exactly what's going on and what sections you're looking at, and where you'll be meeting. But we'll confirm the multi-purpose room availability, and we'll just make sure we can make it all happen, and the world will know about it.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, there is a motion on the table. Those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, is there any other business? Okay, I'll have a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Is there a second? Those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.